SMACKDOWN'S. What's good, y'all? It's Project Man. Today, we got some things to talk about. There's going to be a couple of videos. I don't know if I post it today. I'm going to have a whole recording session, but this is just going to be like half. I probably will maybe record 6 videos, post half of them, but that's what we're doing today. But anyway, what's good, y'all? It's Project Man. Tonight, today, I'm sorry, it's daytime. It's exactly almost like 2:30. But today, we got some things to talk about. It's cold down here, that's why I got a blanket. Some things to discuss. I usually will wear my robe or a hoodie or a jacket, but I just did. This will do. Anyway, let me skip to it. Get to it, DJ. We got to talk about just the key points. Not nothing long, no long review. I ain't going to have you here for long. Probably won't have you here more than, definitely not more than 10 minutes, but I don't know about less than 5. But we got to talk about some of the key points that happened and transpired last night. You know what I mean? I thought I needed a thumbnail. That's why I did that. Because I thought I needed a thumbnail, but I just realized I could just post a picture of kind of just some of the events that happened. But anyway, yeah, good show for WWE Friday Night SmackDown. If y'all seen it last night, this is more from my wrestling fan, obviously. But good show. For those who watched it last night, wrestling fans out there, bro, good freaking show last night. I was going to record a video on the night of, but here I get to be more louder, get to show more volume because nobody's here right now. But yes, guys, that was a good show. Good show just to talk about. Really, the top 3 key points are what happened to CM Punk, what happened to LA Knight, and what happened when the night ended. We'll get to all that. But just to call out the key points of the show. First thing I'm going to say is, I will say I gave the show a 9 out of 10. Like, this is their best. To me, this is one of the best SmackDowns they put on ever. And one of the best SmackDowns, and probably the best SmackDown this year. Other than the ones that The Rock was on, this is definitely like their best shows. But, so that's why it's like, could you imagine, like, when The Rock comes back from doing his, movie project, he's working hard doing the movie with, I think it's the Smashing Machine, where he plays as MMA fighter Mark Kerr. He's gonna kind of go in depth with his life and his career and play that out as the movie. And then he's got the Moana 2 voiceover he's filming for. But if he gets back, if not before SummerSlam, I'm sure it's gonna be around SummerSlam with Roman Reigns. Man, SmackDown, even though Punk won't be a SmackDown superstar, they'll have a quick replacements with Rock and Roman, depending on how long Rock can be there, and definitely Roman's going to be able to be there. And not as the champion, so that'll add a cool, interesting dynamic, which is going to lead me to another video that I got ready for today that I want to record. But, so the show, I don't have any notes, I'm just recalling it as I remember. This is one of the first, and this is one of the only and first SmackDown shows where I genuinely did not have a single, like they had not a single moment in SmackDown where it was just a dead moment. Like, oh, I'm bored. Who wants to see this? For me at least, that the show did not have any of that. Where I was just like, oh, bored. Who cares about this? Or if you even have that, they were super brief. They were like probably some super brief backstage segments, But like stuff like when Blair tried to talk some trash to Bayley, Michin got smashed up by Nia Jax on the freaking equipment cases, as Tiffany Stratton was trying to talk some trash and run her mouth, and she got slapped for it, but then immediately Michin got ran over by Nia Jax. But that's just some of the brief backstage segments, and, I'll talk about the last one that led to the big moment. But show started off with CM Punk cutting the promo against Drew McIntyre, saying that, you prayed for things to happen to me, and I prayed on you, and I freaking, took action, and I just didn't think it'd be so easy to just, like, screw you over, mess you up, ruin your career, and see you now in that downward spiral to the point where you even quit for it. If y'all see my lips glaring, it's because of the chapstick. But boom, we get to Paul Heyman coming down to the ring, and it was so cool. And the crowd's loving it. Chicago was electric this whole night. Them as an atmosphere added to this show subsequently or tremendously. That's probably a better word. Tremendously, their energy added to the show. And obviously, they had their hometown hero in CM Punk, chanting FU Solo when I think Paul Heyman dropped Solo's name. They were saying FU Solo, but Paul Heyman comes out, the ladies and gentlemen, The ECW chant started. The "My name is Paul Heyman." They did it with him. Paul Heyman comes down to the ring, hugs CM Punk. That just warm embrace of like, yes. Because y'all know they're best friends in real life. So it was like just a yes, Punk. Thank you. Please save me from the evil, new, unrecognizable bloodline. I don't know what's going on. Solo is just taking over. And so Paul Heyman is basically, catching up a little bit on some time lost with CM Punk as far as them not being in the same company for like 10 years. That's crazy to think that. So he's basically asking Punk, hey man, I'm trying to save you right now from as a friend of mine who was there for my Hall of Fame speech, and everything else. I'm trying to save you. Get the hell up out of the ring, please, so the Bloodline don't freaking murder you. And Bloodline comes down to the ring, and Punk says, hey, Paul, what is that favor you wanted me to do? And Paul says, if I take out CM Punk says, if I take out the Bloodline, handle this situation, what is that favor you want me to do? And Paul said, take me with you. And I was like, because he said it right in front of Solo. Like, Solo's literally there halfway up the ramp right there while they're in the ring. And yeah, all right, so Solo and his boys, Tama Tonga Loa, get up on the apron. They're ready to handle business. They're chanting that Solo sucks. They chanting F you Solo. He's getting the Dominic Mysterio-esque boos. And right when they was about to make a move, whoa! Cody Rhodes comes out there. Not his music didn't play, but he just went right to the ring, gave CM Punk the bat, reminding you of people like freaking Sting, a la the Stinger. You know what I mean? Sting, who obviously retired earlier in the year. I actually live streamed his retirement match on my this channel, so go ahead and check that out if you haven't. But the Stinger bats, they were ready to swing. Because it was really a 3v4, not a 3v2 with favor of the Bloodline. It was really a 3v4 because you got Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and 2 bats. Oh yeah, it's 4v3. So they felt we're outnumbered, so they got up out of that ring, and that's how that segment ended. That was really good. Seeing Cody and Punk both in the ring is so freaking cool. Considering they were the top stars for AEW, and now they're the top stars for WWE. Cody Rhodes came back as a bigger star, and Punk came back as the guy who we already knew and saw become a top star in WWE, but then just came back, circled the block to get these things done. But then in the show, our first match was Michin versus Bianca versus Chelsea Green. And we got a triple threat match. They did good in that triple threat match, even though it didn't even go 10 minutes. But they did good for the time they were given. And Chelsea Green steals the win after a KOD by Bianca to Michin. 1, 2, 3. Chelsea in the green. Chelsea steals the win by shoving Bianca out the ring and capitalizes on the KOD finish. And boom, Chelsea Green is now in Money in the Bank. Good because it gives her spotlight. And 2, I hope they book her better as a heel, like not just make her a joke. Like have her be a heel that is a squirmy heel that talks trash and gets away with these victories. Like I think they should continue that type of thing with her booking, where she like squeaks out these wins because she's like sneaky and conniving, and more about being working smarter, not harder, right? Instead of trying to beat you with all these moves, I'm sneaking in pinfalls, I'm cheating. I think that's what she needs to do because she can pull it off really well. It'd be crazy if she did win Money in the Bank. I don't think I'd be opposed to it, but I do think she needs better booking going forward because she's been killing it, if you ask me, for what she's been given. But for our remember next, backstage, another backstage segment. It was okay. This video is definitely going over 10 minutes because I remember more than I thought. Backstage, we had Gargano and Ciampa arguing with Waller, and Theory couldn't be there because I think he has something going on with his mouth or something like that. I think he posted on his story and his cheek was swollen, so I think he probably had some dental work done or something, or he got rocked. You never know. But anyway, they were arguing backstage, and then we just hear boom, 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 like those freaking not even garage style doors, but those doors where they can easily lift up and open, where you're getting like a truck in or something like that. Boom, they're making noise. You're like, what's going on? And it slowly opens up, and you see in the wife beater, the black tank top, Drew McIntyre in a bloody, and we didn't know he was bloody until they got a better camera shot of it later on. But we didn't know he was bleeding yet. But yeah, Punk laid out Drew McIntyre, put him in a fireman's carry, walked him all the way to the front of the ramp, out there where Chicago could see it, live there in person, dumped CM Punk off of him, and then we saw that Punk was bleeding and that Drew messed him up. Nick Aldis, I almost said Adam Pearce. Nick Aldis came out there and he's like, what the heck, bro? You know, he shoves Drew a bit, and Drew freaking forcefully shoved him back a couple of feet. And yeah, Nick Aldis is a guy, if y'all seen, you know, his wrestling days and his physique, man, he got size 2 now, so we could see Drew and Nick one day. But the security referees, all that was backing up Drew McIntyre, getting him away from there. And then Drew takes something off of CM Punk's wrist. I think it's a bracelet, maybe something to do with Larry and AJ Lee, or AJ Mendez, whatever you want to, April, whatever you want to call her. We love her over here on this channel. But I think that bracelet may have something to do with that. And as for those who know, obviously, CM Punk and AJ married and all that. So took something that's significant to him after beating him up, and then we heard that he got shipped off to not a local medical facility, as we said in the Vince days of it being overscripted. He got sent to a local hospital. They used the big word, hospital. And and I think later on he was able to leave the hospital, so they're playing that up. So I think they did that segment because maybe they know that Punk isn't cleared. So like he was supposed to announce whether he was cleared or not, but that didn't happen, and Drew took advantage of Punk there. So Punk never got to say whether or not he was cleared. And I think that's because they knew he wasn't cleared. So instead of delivering the bad news in Chicago, they just decided to give a fun segment with him, Paul Heyman, and Cody getting in there to help him. And then switching on over to Drew annihilating him. So that buys Punk a little more time to get cleared. But trying to think if I remember anything else. But as far as backstage segments, I think Cody, Randy, and Owens had a backstage segment where they're basically saying, I got this if y'all, I got a plan if Solo got his goons. And I forgot, Cody actually did challenge Solo to the main event, which is how we got to the main event. But he challenged Solo earlier tonight. But what else? Oh yeah, so Drew got attacked in his home country. He got the world title, or he was costed the world title by way of CM Punk in his home country, not his hometown, because I think he's from Ayr, Scotland, but they were in Glasgow. But his home country in Scotland, he costed him his world title match there, and Drew retaliated the favor by attacking Punk in his home, and not just his home state, but his home country and in America, and his hometown in Chicago, where he's the favorite. He attacked him, beat him in front of his home. He caused Drew McIntyre world title in front of his home, and he beat the absolute ever-living crap out of Drew, or Drew beat the ever-living crap out of Punk in his hometown, so he just retaliated with that, returned the favor. So great stuff. Probably the best segment of the night, other than what could have happened. Well, other than what happened at the very end of the night, that was definitely the highlight, most talked about segment coming out of SmackDown. But then I think we started off, we were a little into the second hour. It wasn't the top of the second hour, but I think we were a little bit into the second hour when my boy, and I was driving because I was picking up food that I had placed an order for. But on my phone, I saw L.A. Oh boy, L.A. Knight. Yeah. His music hits. He comes down to the ring, said, "Hey, Logan Paul, you said you were going to be in Chicago. Come on down to the ring." And he didn't come down. And LA Knight's like, "You got to be kidding me, man." Like, basically telling him, he needs to grow a set. And I come to your house and all this other stuff. I don't, want to keep having to chase you. Show up and come down to the ring. Show me that you bad. And then Santos Escobar comes out there. He tries to talk some trash. LA Knight shuts him down immediately and says, "I ain't here for you. I'm looking past you. I'm only paying attention to Logan Paul." So Santos said, "F that. I don't like being disrespected." Boom. Beats up LA a little bit before LA could counter and hit his finish, the BFT, perfectly sold by Santos, perfectly hit by LA. And LA turns to the hard cam and is talking that trash, basically letting Logan Paul know that he's coming after him and all this other type of stuff. And from behind, shabam! To a forearm blow to the back of the neck of LA Knight. And that was indeed Logan Paul, the United States champion. Logan Paul talking his trash. He's hyped up. He's talking trash to LA, to asking them to get up so he can freaking knock him out with the best right hand in the business. And yeah, knocked LA Knight out cold, had him rocked, had him reeling, and that's how that segment ended. So that was another good moment for the show, getting more heat on Logan and building up to the eventual mic battle, promo battle we're looking forward to between those two. But then I think it was our triple threat for another Money in the Bank qualifier. It was... Oh, okay, there was another one too. Okay, I was making sure. There was the Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes versus Tama Tonga. Obviously, Randy Orton and Tama Tonga got their issues. So the match ended with Melo getting the roll-up pin 1, 2, 3 on Randy Orton. And now Melo in the bank is something that could potentially be on the horizon. But Melo pinned, what's his name? Randy Orton after he threw out Tama Tonga out of the ring. Did Randy Orton, and then he got rolled up. And some can say it's a little unbelievable because, Randy's bigger than Melo, so he probably could have kicked out. But I can suspend my disbelief for that just because of two reasons. Number one, it makes perfect sense for Melo to be at Money in the Bank, and they're most likely doing a 6-man tag with KO, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Cody versus the Bloodline, maybe at Money in the Bank, instead of giving Cody a world title match. So I think they're going to do that for Money in the Bank potentially. But boom, Melo's in there. He needed that win. Melo hasn't really been getting any like massive wins lately. So he needed that win. And not only just any win, but he got a massive win on Randy Orton. Even though, obviously it protects Orton a little bit because it was a triple threat. So that wasn't it. But it wasn't like he was the only one there. It was just a normal singles match. So adding the shenanigans and all that gave Melo the opportunity to pin Randy Orton, and that definitely is something that is huge for his career. Pinned a legend in Randy Orton / Legend Killer. So that's going to do a lot for Melo, and he gets a big spotlight on his first WWE main roster PLE at Money in the Bank, where we know he's going to do fantastic. He's very athletic, good at what he does. Hopefully Melo's stock continues to rise. Here we go. There was another qualifier with Kevin Owens versus Andrade versus Grayson Waller. Now, Kevin Owens, we knew he wasn't going to win because, like I said, he's most likely going to have a 6-man tag with Randy and Cody on his side against the Bloodline at Money in the Bank. And before he got to the ring, they brutally attacked him. The Bloodline did, and took out his knee. So that gave him a little bit of an out. And so Waller went in for his, he rolls out of the ring, jumps in between the second and bottom rope, where he's going to roll in and do his stunner. But it was perfectly countered into the message that double underhook neck breaker, pretty much, that Andrade delivered to him. He caught him perfectly into it. Perfect counter. 1, 2, 3. Andrade gets the win. Another person who needed that win and good spotlighting him, PLE at the Money in the Bank ladder match. Moving on to the next thing that happened, the main event was Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, which was set up earlier tonight. The match didn't even go more than maybe 3 to 5 minutes until the Bloodline said that we're jumping in. Now, at first you're thinking, okay, they jump Cody, and then Cody and, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton come out. You're like, all right, we're kind of seeing the same thing. But after it was 3v1, right, because they had took out the, I think Orton had hit an RKO on Tama Tonga, and Kevin Owens hit a stunner on Tonga Loa. So it was Solo versus Cody, Randy, and KO. He was outnumbered 3-1. And he's like, oh, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. He's cowering in the corner. And he's like covering his face, and then he goes, gotcha, bitch. And what the gotcha was finally the debut of the one I know who he is. I knew who he was before WWE. Knew about him, seen some of his highlights. The dude is a freaking beast and looks legit and an absolute freaking badass that you no doubt will be able to. You have no trouble believing in him. And he heavily raised the stock in the Bloodline in this segment alone. Jacob Fatu comes out there and they debuted him perfectly. He single-handedly took out the 3 top baby faces. In all of pro wrestling, Cody, Randy, and KO, but also the 3 top baby faces for SmackDown. Cody being the WWE champion, Randy being a legend and a multi-time world champion, 14 to be exact, and a former Universal champion, world champion, and Kevin Owens. So 3 world champion, 1 world champion currently, and 3 the other two former world champion, one a multi-time world champion, had him take all of them out. He did he super kicked, I think it was Randy and Kevin Owens. Randy and Cody got a super kick. And then Orton or KO super kicked Jacob, and he no-sold it. And funny enough, earlier in the night, as SmackDown was happening, I said, you know, I don't like the no-selling of the super kicks. I can see Jacob Fatu doing that because it's more believable. And that's exactly what happened in the main event. But Jacob Fatu got super kicked, no-sold it, had the crazy-looking face, and just took out Solo with a clothesline. Then he set up the steps on the outside, threw Owens into the barricade, and then delivered a devastating Samoan drop on top of the steps to Kevin Owens. Then ran into Orton to essentially not a spear, but just ran right through him into the barricade. It was not necessarily botched. I think Orton may not have been on the right barricade. So the barricade did fall, but on one of them, it just shifted a little bit. So he kind of maybe was out of place just a little. But either way, it looked great. And then Cody tries to get a comeback, throw some punches over to Jacob Fatu, sends him over the top rope, but it didn't last long because then Jacob pulled him out from underneath, picked him up, delivered a Uranagi onto the ring apron, put Cody on the announce table after he cleared it off, and then on the top of the post, the top of the turnbuckle, that metal post that is attached to the turnbuckle, he goes to that, and then on the announce table on the outside, which everybody knows that's good distance, and, you know, even though Jacob Fatu has slimmed down some, he's still a big dude. And he delivered a big guy like that too is scary enough, but a guy like that, moving like how he can and as athletic as he is, delivering a full-on splash like he's a freaking cruiserweight, jumps off the turnbuckle all the way to the table that's like over here. So you got him here, table here, boom, gets all the way over there and bam, hits that frog splash. And then we end the show with everybody holding up the one Solo, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and new member Jacob Fatu. Now, a small detail, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, they kind of look just for like maybe 2.5 seconds. They were kind of looking a little like, like, whoa, what's going on? You know, they may not have known that he was coming. Like they kind of playing it off like, okay, so this is what we're doing. Like they were looking like, did we know about this? Or so they're kind of playing it up to that like Solo I think they're kind of playing just that this is a minor detail, but then the show went off the air. I think that was just a minor detail, maybe showing that Solo is wild as the leader of this operation essentially, because he's not even telling his own teammates what he's doing. And so they kind of look like they maybe have not known he was coming, but either way, they locked back in after those 2.5 seconds. They locked back in, held up to once. We faded to black. All I'm gonna say is good show, one of the best shows, gave it a 9 out of 10. And the last thing I'm gonna say about this is, man, Jacob Fatu is a beast, looks like a beast, takes no effort for you to have to believe in the guy. Just look at his freaking size and his look in the face. He's already, to me, better than every member of this new version of the Bloodline because he's just the most believable, looks the most legit, is definitely gonna be the best wrestler out of the bunch, and looks the most, legit and dangerous in this whole group. And that's why people like me were like begging to get him on, because we know this guy moves crazy and looks dangerous. But yeah, that automatically raised the stock of the Bloodline, and I think Jacob Fatu being in there is heavily helping that group. But at the end of the day, what can I say? It is what it is. What's going to be is the Prodigy coming out with more videos, making sure I'm keeping y'all posted, keeping y'all updated, making sure that we doing everything live and rocking it out. Comment down below how you thought about the show, what else you want to see from this channel if you have been keeping up with this channel. But till I see you guys again, I will be catching y'all in the next video, since I am DJ White. So without further ado, let's get it. Till I see y'all again in the next video. Peace.